Hi, how's it going? My name is Gary. Some people call me Boz. I just wanted to make a video and talk about the food fight of '92. I think this is the sort of thing that shouldn't get passed out of general knowledge. People should know what this is and know what actually happened. I was there. This was in the winter time of the '92 graduating class. So it might have been like February, March, somewhere around there. And what I did was I made this sweet-ass map. I know you're going to like this. Oh yeah, that is some pro map work to give you some background information, because I know especially the older guys had a different mess hall. So in our mess hall, you basically came in the front doors here, and then you had parallel rows of tables going all the way down the mess hall, and there was food areas where you get your food and stuff like that. And there was also a food area over here on this side. And then the key part here is as you come down, here is C Company, and then over here is this little nook in the building. And inside there was the main staff table, and this is where all the regimentals sat. And it was kind of perpendicular to everything else in its own little nook here. And that will be important later. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wow, that is a sweet-ass map. And you are right. It is a sweet map. So this is at a third mess formation. So the whole corps isn't there, but there's probably a good 400, 450 cadets or so, in there. And they served us little tiny potatoes. And I was sitting here. If you look here, there's Boz. And then right next to me is the main C Company Old Men table. And then over here is this big-ass Canadian dude named Sarah. And he has got his food, he gets his food, and he's walking back over to sit. And something happens, and he begins yelling at somebody. I don't know, somebody looked at him funny or something. He's a big-ass Canadian, so he just gets angry real fast, So somebody noticed this over in C Company. Now in C Company, we had me, Oz, and then Chris Kenny at this table right here. And then the table right next to us, I'm not 100% sure of the people at the table, but this table had Jesse Gray, Justin Basutti, Davis and Isler, and maybe some other people, I don't remember who, but this was the group of people that sat at this table. So somebody notices that Sarah is yelling at this guy, and somebody, I don't know who it was, basically said, no balls to hit him with a potato. Now, for those of you who were not there the time we were there, no balls was the biggest super triple dog dare. Being no balls by someone completely absolved you of any personal responsibility for doing it. It was your duty as a man to accomplish this, So I don't know who threw the first potato, but somebody takes one of these little potatoes and whips it across the mess hall and hits Sarah with it. Now Sarah was looking the other way. He's looking towards this guy in B Company who he's yelling at. So he doesn't really know where the potatoes come from, and he's looking around. He's like, who the fuck threw that? With a really thick accent and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And then he just starts charging over to where he thinks it's coming from, which is C Company. So people are like, oh my God, get him. So more potatoes start flying through the air. They are arcing over, and it was really like, it was remarkable because the potatoes are by and large on target and are hitting him and pelting him. And he's this big angry dude, and he's charging over, and he is literally like, like being forced back by the fury of the flurry of tiny potatoes that are hitting him and stuff like that. Now, he's basically stopped in his tracks, but these potatoes are not all hitting their mark, and so the potatoes start to go into B Company and Battery and wherever else. And then so a few stray things start to fly back at C Company. And then before you know it, the whole mess hall is throwing stuff back and forth. So food starts flying all over the place. Now, there was about a 5-second window where I think the main staff could have prevented that if they would have just taken charge. They saw what was going on. I mean, I don't know how fast they realized what's going on, but there's this huge Canadian dude yelling at people, charging people, and stuff like that. If they would have been like, hey, Sarah, or the C Company guys, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Stop that. I think they could have arrested the food fight. But in that 5-second window that they had to stop the food fight, instead, very bravely, they went out the back door. So the whole main staff piles out the back door. Now, Kenny and I are right in front of the main staff table. So I'm like, dude, let's go. And he's like, where? And I'm like, into the main staff area. Because this is the ultimate place for a food fight, because you are completely protected. You are enclosed in an alcove, cubby hole, and we go behind the main staff table. We flip the main staff table over. So there's only like a tiny window where you could even throw stuff in and hit us. We're throwing food out of there and stuff like that. Now, very rapidly, people begin to run out of food, and simultaneously, everyone had the same idea, which was, oh my God, now is our chance to get the main staff. Now, most of the people did not know that main staff was not there anymore. The people in B Company and the battery and the troop and stuff, they didn't have the view. They didn't realize that main staff is fearlessly hiding out the back door. So Kenny and I pop up over the table, and it was like the Matrix, because I looked up and I saw time slow down, and in the air was not just food, it was plates, it was forks, it was knives, it was everything, and it was all coming in a giant arc right towards main staff. And I look at Kenny, and he looks at me, and I just go, oh fuck. And I'm like, let's go. So we run out the back door. Now, I go out first, Kenny's diving out right after me, the door closes, it's like a movie, because the door is closing, it's like Lord of the Rings, like the orcs are about to, get into the last room in Moria. There's just an explosion of plates and knives and forks and trays and everything else smashing against the back door. Now, I gather myself up, and I'm like, oh my God. And then what do I see in front of me? But the whole main staff, with their trays, sitting on the ground, eating. So the main staff is out back, and they're eating. And I get up, and I brush myself off, and I'm, covered in food and stuff. And I'm just like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, I'm like, that's a crazy situation there. I'm glad I escaped out the back with you guys, And then, they're kind of giving me, a dirty look and stuff, but what are they going to do? Now, the thing was, I couldn't just leave because, Kenny and I were basically stuck there with the main staff. So a few minutes later, we go back in with the main staff. Now, the whole core is still there. The place is totally destroyed. I mean, it's so covered in food. I've never seen anything like this. And immediately after that, somebody walks in the front door. And I don't remember whether it was the Commandant or Sergeant Major Harris, but I think it was the Commandant. And he's sitting there, he's giving us, the look of death. And then, we're all sitting there, we're like, oh my God, we're so screwed. And so he starts walking over where the main staff table is. And I'm just saying to myself, I'm like, we're all dead. And the reason is because he's going to go over to that microphone, and everyone in the building knew exactly what he's going to say. Nobody leaves until this place is cleaned up. And this place was such a mess, I couldn't even imagine how long it would take us to clean it. I mean all night kind of thing. So somebody goes to Leno Thomas and says, no balls to pull the fire alarm. Thomas is like, yeah. And that's it. it was like Jesus came down and saved us all because we all had to evacuate the building. There's no close the doors, nobody leaves. We all had to leave the building. That is like number one rule of the universe. If there is a fire alarm, you get out. Now the thing was is that because there was a fire alarm, there was now no accountability because you couldn't tell who was at this third mess, who was not at this third mess. Everybody left the building and basically took off, and ran back to their companies, and changed and stuff like that. It was brilliant. It really saved the day. We would have all been screwed. Totally. I mean, we were all punished, and the whole corps was restricted all weekend. I'm sure we had extra parade practices or whatever, miserable stuff. But it would have been nothing compared to cleaning that up. Now, I don't know how they cleaned that up. I don't know who really cleaned it up, but it was amazing that the next day that thing was taken care of because it was totally destroyed. But it was really probably about the most amazing 3 minutes, I think probably it lasted. But it was the most amazing 3 minutes, perhaps in the history of Valley Forge.